In lesson 12.4, what we're going to be doing is we are going to be talking about how rational exponents and then roots can be the exact same thing, or they are the exact same thing. They're just written two different ways. So we want to look at this problem, and it's written two different ways, but it's the exact same problem. Sometimes we can have a number written to an exponent. Now, typically we see exponents like 2, 4, 7, whatever they may be. We usually just don't see fractions. But fractions, okay, are still acceptable exponents. Okay, they're not like negative numbers, all right? But they can be written as roots as well. So technically, when you see a fraction as an exponent, what they're asking you is the cube root of 64, then that answer raised to the fourth power. So it's what we have down here, the cube root of 64 raised to the fourth power. Okay, so if someone were to ask you to write this in radical form, the denominator is always going to be the small number right here at the top of the fraction bar. I'm sorry, not the fraction bar, the radical sign. Now, if it's ever a 2, 2's are understood because it's basically like saying the square root, so we don't have to write them. But if it's any number other than 2, we do. So we'd write the cube root, then our base is always the number that goes in the bottom, and the top number of the fraction always stays our exponent. Then, vice versa, if somebody were to ask you to change from radical form to exponential form, 64 would stay our base, the exponent 4 would be our numerator, and the denominator is going to be the root, or the small number in front of the radical sign. So that's just how we would change it from one form to another. So the top number is always the exponent, the bottom number is always the root when you're dealing with an exponential fraction. So now let's do 64 to the 3/4 power in our calculator, because we can plug in fraction. So I'm going to do 64 and I do the little exponent button in my calculator and make that exponent a fraction. So I'm going to do 4 over 3. So when I do that, I should get 256. Now again, I can do it in my calculator this way as well. What you're going to do is you're going to hit the shift button and then the key above the exponent problem. And you're going to get a little box over top of the radical. So we're going to put our 3 there. 64 is our base, so it goes inside the radical. And then I'm going to move outside the radical and I'm going to click the exponent button. And it's going to be to the 4th power. So when I do that, I also get 256. So this is the exact same answer. So all they're asking us to do here is they are asking us to evaluate each one. So 27 to the 1/3 power. So what we're going to do is we're going to do 27, and then I'm going to do 1 over 3, press equals, and we get 3. Oops. So really, we're just typing these in our calculator. Then we're going to do the cube root of 1,000. So I'm going to go to my calculator. There's actually a cube root button. It's the shift square root. I'm just going to type 1,000 underneath the radical, and I get 10. Then 64 to the 1/2 power is the same thing as saying the square root of 64, which is 8. So then they want us to do 16 to the 3/2 power. So we're going to do 16, hit the exponent button, make it a fraction, 3 over 2, and I get 64. Whoops, keep doing the same thing. And then 8 to the 4/3 is going to be 16. Okay? So this is your homework for 12.4. Go ahead and get started on that.